We are done with the question and answer. No, we are done with the question, we are not done with the answers. So, I pass the mic to any one of you who start. We have quite a number of questions to Kak Syam, right?
To begin with my answer, I'm making a general comment. On one side, we are talking about good value of society. Another side, we are talking about freedom and social ills. So we are contradicting ourselves. I mean, our people, Malaysians, are contradicting ourselves. We talk about good values, and we are promoting social ills. My comment to Pang, thank you for giving, give kind of pity to me, and I accept that as a compliment. I would like to respond that will a criminal be treated the same as a non-criminal? I don't want to answer. I think you are lawyers, you know very well. Will a criminal be treated the same as a non-criminal? So we accept homosexuality as a crime, definitely the treatment will be different. And our law student Muhammad Ali, whether I have a choice or whether I don't choose or I don't take a homosex as a teacher in my kindergarten, whether it's on the basis of my stigmatization or just because he's homosexual, and he gave me a choice to choose a homo or one who sleeps with many women. Both are not my kind of employees. Because sleeping with many women is also not straight as well. I have my stand. I think the audience understand what I mean. I have the choice. There are thousands of people who want to work now. It's not only these two persons. There are thousands of religious people. I don't have to make a choice. I will interview. If it makes me happy, I'm an employer. I have the right to my kindergarten. Who are you to force me to choose my employer? I have all the right to choose. If you talk about freedom of choice, give me the freedom of choice. Nico, it's okay, Nico. I'll answer you.
It's not all about sex. For once, let's not talk about sex and let's take it out from the context of sex.
Yeah, did I say sex just now? Did I say sex? I didn't, my love. I didn't. I didn't talk about sex. He was asking me whether I want to choose a man who slept with many women. I said no. Give me the freedom of choice. I'm an employer. I choose my employee.
All right,
so you are pushing me to choose what I don't like.
Okay.
Are you telling me you want to be a gay? That's your choice. Right? That's your choice. Give me the choice to choose my employee. Right? Because I feel Allah more emotional. Sorry. I didn't answer.
Okay.
Okay.
You, madam.
He wants me to answer which employee I want to employ.
All right.
I didn't answer Nico's yet. I didn't answer Nico yet. Okay, it's fine. But when we talk about schools, whether the schools has the right, the same thing goes. The same thing goes. If you are in my university, follow the rules. You don't wear the attire as the university asks you to do, don't come here. We are in an institution where we concept and principle, vision and mission. Where you are forcing other people to follow your rules. That is not right, there's no freedom.
Talking about rules, tadi pun there's a question.
Proceed to, as what Nicole said, don't step another person's. Aslan from UUM. What we cannot about the personality, what we can or we cannot on the personality liberty. I agree with Nico 100%. Once you don't approach another rights, another person's right, that's your liberty. But once you encroach on my rights, that's my liberty. Because rights always come together, rights and obligation, rights and duty. So it's fine. So just, if you think that that is your personality, yeah, go ahead. That's what you want to be. And Sam was talking about persecution something, yeah? But throughout years we have the penal code. Dr. Farouk says 7 prosecution, and 4 involve Anwar Ibrahim. It was only 3 prosecutions. Is that an achievement that the law has not been used? And the law have not been rigorously used? As what the referendum report in 1957 in England. It's not rigorously abused. But if people say, the last speaker talks, the last comment is from, the problem with enforcement. Is the problem with the law? It's problem with the enforcement. The argument from Mr. Wee, Mr. Farouk also is in the enforcement of the law. Let's repair the enforcement of the law. It's nothing to do with the law that if I say that whether it's morality or whether immorality. Oh, I forgot to answer Aslan's question. Where is in the Constitution talks about whether this is right, whether this is not right. Constitution is not a penal law. What is right, what's not right, you can find in the penal code and other related criminal provisions. But it's not in the Constitution. The Constitution gives you the general rules, what can be, what cannot be. Thank you.
Brother Farouk?
Yes, I'll just answer the last question because it was directed to me, right? Yeah, because I think I disagree to what the Shamrayu said just now. That there's nothing wrong with the law, it's only the implementation. If you ask me, I don't know what we would say, but I would say there's something very wrong with the law and very wrong with the implementation, right? Both are wrong, basically. Wrong because, as we have mentioned just now, the law did not discriminate between heterosexual and homosexual, right? And Dr. Shamrayu said that there were 7 cases. I said there were 7 cases since 1938. 4 of them involved Datuk Sri Dr. Anwar Ibrahim, meaning to say that the laws were not being executed properly. So it was basically a political persecution. So that was why we got only 4 out of 7 since 1938 being used as a political instrument. So it's wrong. So the law itself is wrong and the implementation itself is wrong. Right? So it's selective persecution by the AG chambers. Sorry that probably they don't have, the AG chamber was not here to defend themselves, but I was told that they were invited but declined to attend.
I have a very, very important comment to make. You can call me Chiwi. If you insist on calling me Mr. whatever, you can call me Mr. Lim if you really must, but otherwise it's a Chiwi. Okay, let's talk about the selective prosecution. Now, I don't mean to belabor this point, but I come back to how the criminal provision doesn't distinguish between heterosexual, homosexual, and then talks about anal sex and oral sex. Okay, if you remember, a few years ago, a Chinese man was filmed doing something. Was he prosecuted? Okay, so, alright, so that, I think, adds to what Datuk Farouk said. Again, I'm repeating myself, and probably because of a poor speaker, but when you leave this hall, can you break down in your minds the issues? Like I said, the lowest common denominator are members of the LGBT community to continue to be stigmatized, to be humiliated and persecuted. And this situation is a consequence of some of our criminal provisions and the stigmatization. I accept that you can never stop one human being from judging another human being. Yes, you will say that is immoral, so is adultery. You know? And what has happened with the laws on adultery? So ask yourself that very basic question. Don't confuse that with, some of you have talked about same-sex marriage and what you want to do with your children and all that. Don't confuse that with that very low-lying question. And if you want to talk about morality, of course, no parent naturally anyway will want to see their child being homosexual. But why? Because we ourselves could see the pain that our friends who are in the LGBT community are going through. And that is really what this is all about. If we can just start debating this issue at its lowest common denominator first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lim. I think with that, we have come to the end of our discussion. So everyone has given, every issue has been addressed accordingly, and I think we have answered all questions, if not all, most of the questions, 80% of the questions, and I believe some of the issues that have been playing in your mind are actually addressed. And if you still have issue, I would propose that some other faculties of Kuliah can organize this kind of event to specifically discuss on whether homosexuality is a condoned deed or not, on the pros and cons of the homosexuality and so on and so forth. Because now here we are in the moot court, we are only discussing whether homosexuality is a crime or right. So thank you, and my apologies for anything, and thank you again.
And on behalf of the panelists, we thank the moderator and you, the audience. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Farizul. He is actually our former president of Law Student Society. Yes, thank you for being our resident today. Now I respectfully invite Associate Professor Dr. Farid Sufian, accompanied by Brother Fuad Shazwan, to present token of appreciation to all the panelists. Please welcome Brother Farid. Dr. Farooq. Our beloved Kak Shah. Last but not least, Mr. Lee. Okay, thank you, Dr. Farid. We are now come to the end of our event. On behalf of the organizing committees, I would like to express our gratitude to our VIPs for coming today. And we would like to apologize for any shortcomings. So we will end our session with recitation of Tasbih Kifarah and Surah Dua. All the VIPs are invited for some refreshments. Thank you everyone for coming, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and have a pleasant night.
Betul, saya betul.